Hello, my name is Britta Aarma. I'm a homeopath and an artist, and I also make interesting podcasts with inspiring people. I had a talk with Magee, who is a personal yoga trainer and also yoga teacher. And he's coming to Estonia this summer, so keep your eye on the social media.
No, no joke. I really, everything's an accident for me. Yeah, so there we are. We're having a good accident. Mm.
Well,
Good morning.
good morning.
In this beautiful place, planet Earth. So the sun has gone down there, and it's just rising here.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, this is about to rise. I could walk to the beach. But I can hear the surf from here, and I'm wondering if the surf will be too loud. This is a mangrove swamp. This tree here is called a mangrove, not a mango, not the fruit. This is the birthplace of life. This is where all the creatures come in. So this is tidal in the, a bird just had a fish. When the tide comes in, it comes up to this, and these are the mangrove roots. This is how they breathe underwater. They put their things up and they throw the salt out to the top of these roots. And these trees hold all the sand together and stop it from washing away into the ocean. But they also create an environment for all the life to begin. So the fish come up into the river and they put their eggs into the roots here. Because look at that, there's lots of little places for the fish eggs to hatch and for the babies to live without the big fish eating them. And then when they're big enough, they go into the river and then out to the sea. So this is called a mangrove swamp. It's a bit like a bog, a bit like the Estonian bogs, but it's a saltwater place.
Mhm.
I'm presently at Kingscliff, which is on the east coast of Australia, and there's a river that comes out to the sea here. It's got the Pacific Ocean just around the corner, the big Pacific Ocean. Waves. It's just north of Byron Bay, which is the most easterly point of Australia. And it's the first place to get the sunrise here, the first place to be kissed by the sunrise.
Oh, wow.
And I'm here totally by accident because I'm on my way to serve at a meditation retreat. But where I was living in the mountains, I don't have a car and there's no public transport there. So I had to, someone was coming off the mountain, going to a music recital. They were going to drive the 1 hour down the mountain to the coast. So I went to the music recital, and there I met someone who was happy to take me to their house, to let me live there for 2 nights before I go to the meditation retreat. So what I did is gladly accepted it. They had a spare room, and I arrived at the house, and I believe that strangers are friends that you haven't met yet, and the world's full of strangers. So there's lots of people, lots of friends to meet. And because there's about 8 billion people, there's a lot of friends to get through. So there's no end of friends to meet. And what's a friend? You know, a friend is someone who um, is company, someone that you feel safe with, someone that you feel an affinity with and a connection. So I'm very open to being a friend. And fortunately, I don't even have to pretend because the world is full of people that I feel an affinity with. So that's easy. The next thing is, how do you live in someone's house where they're, paying bills, working hard to create a house, and I'm not doing that? How do you live in a house where it feels fair, where it doesn't feel like you're sort of hanging off them or sucking off their hard work like a vampire? And fortunately, it's very easy because I'm happy to clean houses. I also have a great passion for building food gardens, and I also teach movement that supports the function of the body better and can relieve pain. Plus, I give massage and body work. So I'm happy to do any of those things, but I offer them. I don't offer them as a as a business. Like, if you invite me to come to your house, I will do this, this, and this. I just say, look. Normally, I'm introduced by someone else. The person I've been staying with will say, that person wants to that person wants you to go to their place. So they might do the sales job for me. They might go and say, this guy will come and he'll he doesn't make a mess. I don't have to sell anything or promise anything. So that makes it very easy. So I don't have to fill any expectations. I just do whatever I can. And there's always children to care for and to entertain. There's old people who often, when, like in this house I'm living at, there's an old lady living there too. And I'm happy to sit down and listen to the story of old people. So I typically find that someone who's old has experience, and I could learn a lot from that. So I'm always interested in people. And fortunately, it also means that I get to be by myself, because even though I had access to, a bathroom and a bedroom, and the mosquitoes weren't eating me last night because I had a lovely room, I could get up in the morning and I can go for a walk and be by myself in a brand new place, living a brand new, never lived experience, which means it's always exciting. I mean, I've never been down here. This is the first time I've been here with you now, this place. I'm walking around like I own the place, Oh, yes, yes, yes. I've got no idea. This is all brand new. I could have slept under a bridge last night, and be waking up and be looking for a bottle of whiskey or something to make my sore throat feel better. But actually, I shared dinner and prepared food. People have always got a refrigerator full of food. They just often can't be bothered combining it. Whereas in this case, they said, okay, open the fridge, open the refrigerator, make whatever you like. So it was like going to a shop and opening it up and, oh, what will I have? What we have, and then what would you like? And obviously everything in the fridge they like. So I just choose the things that I like and I make a combination. It's like a puzzle. What am I going to make today? So last night I made a dinner. We actually had prawns because this area is famous for prawns. So there was fresh prawns here.
What are prawns?
And prawns, well, they're actually like the cockroaches of the ocean, aren't they? They're uh, sometimes, I think in America they call them shrimp. You might know them as
Oh, okay.
shrimp.
Mm.
Yeah. So you see this place, people live next to the water. Don't know if you can see the houses there.
Yeah, lucky people.
Yeah, that's what I think. And there's my favorite mountain in the distance.
Mm.
It's a it's an ancient, yeah. So yeah, they are lucky people. But I woke up in the house this morning in this little white, white room. It had nice ceiling, and I thought, how lovely. But I would not want to live there every day. It would. I love change. Yesterday, I was sleeping in an old bus in the mountain, and tomorrow I'll be at a meditation retreat center. And then after that, I don't know really. Hopefully, I'll get to come to Estonia sometime. That would be
Yes.
good.
So I'm really waiting for it.
Yes. Well, we had such a nice connection last time, Britta. It was wonderful. You were working at the academy and you were holding it all together there and supporting the work of Ola, which must have been a huge amount of work and organization, and everything ran very smoothly. May I share with you the Pacific Ocean?
Yes, please.
Fantastic. The sun hasn't come up yet. This is twilight. This is the beginning of it.
So what's the time right now?
I think it's about 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 in the morning. The thing is, in Australia, there's different times, not just going east and west, but going north and south. So this is the border. Up there is Queensland. And Queensland, they have normal time. However, down south here, in this state and the next one, they have normal time daylight saving. So the time has gone back. So that way the sun appears to go down later. They do that so people can enjoy the summer or something. I don't know why they do it, but it's just confusing. It's just confusing because people sometimes live here and have to work up there. And if they do that, they've got to, they must be very clever. I can't work it out. Fortunately, the telephone resets the time when you go over the border. It puts a new time there. This is going to be a beautiful day. I can feel it. It's just, wow. We get to watch the sunrise together. Yeah. And there you are in Tallinn, in your cozy house. Outside there's snow and fresh snow and frost.
Yes, there
And
is snow again. And snow is very, very beautiful. But I can say that most of the Estonians are waiting for spring. So we're kind of bored. It's cold. We want warm.
Yes. Yeah. Well, warm's comfortable. Or has it just been the same for a long time? I suppose. Yeah, it can be uncomfortable, can't it? I wouldn't want to be walking. I remember I went walking on the beach with you, and that was just in autumn. And I think I was like, my nose was running and I was shaking, and there was no way. And all I wanted to do was go to that little cafe and sit down and have a cup of tea and some cake. And it was like, oh, but it made being inside very special. But I suppose if you're doing it, yeah, every day for 4 months, you're probably looking forward to the change.
Yes, like you said, you can't live in the same place too long. We can't stay with snow too long.
Yeah. When does the spring come? What time of year?
Um,
It should
well,
be there now, should it?
no. Well, in March there is still lots of snow. So April is kind of warmer and snow is starting to melt away. So in May there is usually no snow, really okay.
So
So,
you're guaranteed, yes.
but the summer begins in July.
Really?
So
So you really have to wait for the summer solstice before there's a commitment to summer.
yes, something like that. So
I
yes.
remember when I was in Estonia, I was at the Yoni pub, the summer solstice festival, and I offered to teach yoga, but they said yes, but would you do it outside? I was like, why do you want to do it outside? Because it's a lovely day. We don't get many of them, so people will be, if they're inside, they'll be wanting to be outside.
Yeah.
So we ended up doing yoga outside, and I did. The theme was a celebration of summer, and it was very, very well received.
And I remember you. It was raining that day, and you were so happy. You went, "Oh my God, it's raining! Can you believe it?" And I was thinking that, "Oh my God, what is wrong with you? Why is it
Yeah,
so
yeah,
special?" And then,
yeah, the winter's coming back.
and then, do you remember what you said? You said,
No, uh,
"You know how it is to live in Australia when always there is sun shining and you can't even open your eyes fully. So now, when it's raining, I can open my eyes."
yeah, even have the rain in my face. Ah, yes, the rain in Estonia. I met it was so fresh. It was so fresh, and Tallinn, even though it's a city, it was such a fresh city. Wasn't greasy and dirty. There was no rubbish anywhere. There's no chewing gum. There's no bubble gum sitting on the ground. I even noticed when their people were walking their dogs, and the dogs would go to do their business on the ground, people put a glove on and caught it in their hands. They didn't even let it go onto the grass.
Yes, we do that.
And I had just come from France. Yeah, that's quite a unique thing to do. And I didn't think it was silly. I thought it was so caring and so tender. This beautiful quality of caring for the earth and each other. It's quite unique, unfortunately. I wish the whole world was suddenly possessed by this obsession to catch their dog's business before it touched the grass, because what a beautiful, beautiful quality that is. One of many of the fine qualities of the people from Estonia. So, with a bit of luck, because that's what it takes, I will be able to be there and, and to learn and share and grow myself through contact with things that qualities and wisdom that people there take for granted. Well, I've been talking to Ala, the principal of the academy, and he would like me to contribute to the Estonia Nature Days Festival, which is going to be offered to the international community for the first time this year. And like I said, just the opportunity to visit Estonia, to walk around the beautiful ancient capital, and also to go into the land, to enjoy having saunas, to enjoy the unique food, all the berries and the mushrooms and the black bread and the pickled fish and the smoked fish. These are all exciting and exotic things for anyone outside of the Baltic countries. So to have a context to go there where Estonia is opening up to share their nature, not just the earth, but their culture, their nature and character with the rest of the world, is one that will be very well received. I've got a friend here. Look, I think it'll be very well received. So I'm in the process of talking with Allah about uh, the kind of things, the way we can offer this invitation to to other people in Europe and even America, Africa, and Australia. And we're going to make the theme the inner child, and the theme will be healing. But really, we don't have to do much. All we have to do is just invite people to come to Estonia to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and to do Estonian things, and to do Estonian dancing, to sing Estonian songs. That's enough. So we're going to put it in a context where people are invited to participate in the life and culture and energy of Estonia. So I'm very fortunate to do that, and perhaps I will organize to stay there for a month or two and do some other classes and workshops, because I've been very busy learning new techniques, particularly working with trauma-informed body work. So working in a way that adjusts to everyone's needs, to individual needs, in a bespoke practice, in a specific practice to suit individual constitutions and individual needs. People have everyone is unique, and everyone has a unique need. So that way the yoga practice touches people deeply. It's not just a generic practice. And particularly to be trauma informed, so to look for signatures of trauma where people hold chronic pain and contraction in their bodies and being, and to look for those things and to adjust so that it's super comfortable. Because the yoga takes you to your personal edge, and you have to be strong to go there, and if you want to make sure that you feel safe. So doing trauma-informed body work is what I'll be bringing to Estonia this year.
So would it be individual, or can you do it in a group?
Yes, one-on-one. We could work with couples, but also it can be done in a group for economic reasons, and also because there's that beautiful esprit de corps working with other people. But to treat everyone like an individual. And yeah, I can do classes of about 20 people where everyone can be doing their own thing now. So what I'd like to offer is over, say, a 3-hour period, people come in maybe 10 minutes at different times. They come in whenever they're ready. They don't have to rush to be there at one time, just in that 3-hour period. And they come and I welcome them, and then create a bespoke practice. So a practice just for them that only goes for 25 minutes, no longer. Something you can do every day.
Really?
Rather than some 2-hour, because most people are busy and they don't have the time. Imagine if you were to look in the mirror, and clean your teeth and wash the face and things, and spend 2 hours doing it. It wouldn't make you a very healthy person. So yoga is a kinesthetic mirror. It's a mirror of sensation, and you look deeply into yourself. But really, 24 minutes, 25 minutes is long enough. I mean, there's a world to be loved, and work to be done, children to be cared for, partners to be met, food to be prepared. There's things to do. So that's why if you have a short amount of time, you really need the practice to be something that's very specific for you, that remedies any chronic repetitive strain conditions, so that people who sit at a desk for much of their day need to have a different treatment to someone who's doing farm work, or looking after the forest, or working in a factory, or driving a taxi. Everyone needs to be balanced from the activity they're doing. Plus we have individual life stories, so that has to be relevant. So the training I'm offering is to introduce people to a 25-minute sequence they can do every day, either to prepare for sleep or to prepare for the day after waking. that suits their time schedules and their individual constitutional needs. And when you come and there's other people coming and going, but it's not a social occasion. It's very much about focus on your own self. And very quickly we go into a personal edge. You go to this place where there's resistance and where there's the need to cultivate transformation. So that's the kind of work I'm offering now. And I'm learning to do it better every day.
So are you practicing it really every day?
Yes, not a day goes by. It's more important to me than breakfast or lunch or dinner to find that time. And it makes life fresh. When you come to a personal threshold, when you expand your world from the familiar and the comfortable, and to open it up into that which is as yet unfamiliar and unintegrated, which is the whole universe. There's no end to how much you can explore, and to bring it home and to integrate it into your own life is the best nutrition there is. As human beings, we long for that freshness, rather than getting stuck inside in our own little winter for the rest of our lives. If every day you can go to your very edge and include a bit more of the unknown universe into yourself, it's like learning music or learning some other art form, but you're learning just to be in your bodies. And what it gives as a result is more vitality, more enthusiasm for life, and less suffering and less constriction, and more ability to meet the demands of the human being, which is to be in stewardship for the rest of life. That's what the practice offers. This is what yoga traditionally offered. It's just in recent times, it's become a bit like a variation on exercise to music or something you do in the gym. You know, it kind of makes you a bit numb.
But do you ever feel that you really don't want to practice, I don't know, some days, or to feel kind of lazy sometimes?
Lazy is a good thing because it actually makes you the quality of laziness. I know we often are criticized for being lazy. Like, why aren't you participating in this? You're lazy. It's because you don't want to participate in that. I think you have to honor that. So laziness makes you find the best way to do things, the way that's not exhausting. The sort of practice I'm teaching, it's like it makes you feel good and you can't wait to do it. The problem is stopping it and just keeping it to 25 minutes because it starts and stops. You want to keep on doing it.
Okay, I'm
So,
interested already.
yeah, no, you can never be lazy. And it always includes a lying down moment, a lying down for 3 to 5 minutes where you just get to be fully restful, even more restful than you would going to sleep, because you don't have to go to sleep. You just have to just rest. After doing the appropriate work, your body's ready to rest and integrate. If it's not working for you, then we change it. We do something else. Look what's happening over here. This is our beautiful star, Surya. It's rolling over the horizon, breaking through the clouds for this new day. The same thing has been happening every 24 hours for a long time. And yet it's never the same, never boring. So it's the same with the practice, with a bespoke practice. I'm not talking about something you go to for 2 hours and you do some generic practice. That could become quite dull. But with repetition, there's always little variations. and nuances and changes. It's never the same. It's fresh. This sunrise is like no other. It has, I don't think I've ever seen a sunrise that looks exactly like that. And it's the same with the daily yoga practice.
So how many
It's,
years have you practiced yoga?
I lived in China when in my 20s, and there I studied Tai Chi. You might be familiar with Tai Chi. And I was introduced to the idea of Qi. And Qi is the energy that permeates and animates everything, which sounds very far out, but Chinese talk about Qi in a very ordinary way. The word Shen Qi means to give birth to Qi. That means to be angry. Weather is called Sky Qi. You can have disharmonious Qi of the head. That's what we call a headache. So all of a sudden, I'd never thought of this idea of everything being made of energy and everything only having its existence in relationship to something else. So this took my interest. But at Tai Chi, I had some injuries in my body, and the Tai Chi was just making it feel worse. So then I met someone who was doing yoga in China. I started doing yoga with them. And when I came back to Australia when I was 30, I was working as a butler in an all-suite hotel in my home city of Melbourne, where I was the personal butler of visiting celebrities and dignitaries. And I had to work 3 different shifts a week. Sometimes I'd have to be there when the rock band, you might remember something like AC/DC, it's a famous band, that they would come back after their concert at 1 in the morning, and I'd have to stay awake with them all night until they went to bed. And then the next day I might have to be with someone else who needs me there in the middle of the day. So I was doing 3 different shifts and having irregular sleep. And I started to do yoga to manage the stress of that. And then I discovered that I really liked it. And I started to do yoga with different teachers that were visiting. And one day a teacher, a world famous teacher, was visiting. And he guided us in meditation at the end. I was sitting up with my eyes closed, focusing on the inner world. I went into this great feeling of peace. And then when I opened my eyes, he was sitting right in front of me, and the whole class was surrounding both of us, standing up, looking down. And he said, "What are you doing with your life?" And I said, "Oh, blah, blah, blah." And he said, "I take apprentices. I think you'll be a very good yoga teacher. I invite you to come and be my apprentice." And I thought, wow, I'm being invited by the wizard to be the wizard's apprentice. I was very excited. So that began my training of 3 years, which was a horrible experience. It was very strong. I thought he was just going to touch me, and all of a sudden I'd have all these magical skills. But it was 3 years of being destroyed, body, mind, and soul, just broken down. Everything that I thought I was challenged. And there was a lot of discomfort and a lot of tears and laughter. And I did an apprenticeship with him. And then after that, I went and studied with someone who was more scientific, who was a therapist. And he worked with people who had had car accidents and who had had very damaged bodies. So I did that for another 2 years. So after that 5 years training, I began teaching myself and working as a teacher in a school. And then very quickly, because I like to talk a lot, I got a job being a teacher trainer at a teacher training school. And I did that for most of my 30s at 2 different schools as part of a teacher training program. So I learned in a traditional style of being an apprentice, an apprentice, which took 3 years. But then yoga became popular and different schools started to do 9-month courses. At first we thought, 9 months, how can you learn to teach yoga in 9 months? But these days people do 3-month courses. And that kind of thing is available as well. So then I lost interest in doing the group classes because they seemed to dilute the power. It became like doing exercise to music, and it wasn't deep. So I started doing one-on-one training and with people, and started to live the life I do now, where I move from place to place. Well, at first I started to, wealthy people would start to have me live on their property. They would have a house on the property, and I'd be like an art installation, and they'd come and do yoga with me every day. In exchange for that, they would give me a house to live in and provide food and accommodation. But I started to feel a prisoner of one person. So then I started to move around offering it to other people, and started to travel all around the country and around different places in the world doing that. And always learning new things. So that happened when I first started, pretty much when I was 30, doing it for 30 years. Yeah.
And you're still find a way to learn some more.
Yeah, always. I have to actually just forget about everything I've learned in the past so I can learn something new, even though the same foundation's there. Look, here's a little house.
Is it yours?
Yeah, this is... It's funny, in the last 5 years of traveling around the world, I've only slept twice rough. One time, I had to sleep on a rock outside a chateau in France because I was rude, and I was rude, and I learned that I was unnecessarily rude, and the person kicked me out. So I ended up sleeping on a rock. And then another time I arrived in a city and it was late at night, and I didn't, even though I had a place to live, I didn't want to disturb the people. So I ended up staying in an Airbnb. So for the last 5 years, I've only slept rough twice, really. And no, I won't be sleeping here tonight. But if I needed to, I always could, and I'd be happy to do that too.
So how do you do that? You just go with the flow, and you just, how do you do that?
Just provide what's necessary.
Yes, how do you do that?
Yeah. By not being too attached to the idea, like, oh no, I don't clean toilets. I only do the special thing. I only do the sort of, you listen to me and I tell you what to do. That kind of attitude. It's quite a responsibility to do that. Fortunately, when I'm in that context to do that, the same softening opens up, so I know what to do and what to teach. I don't just teach that which I learned yesterday. You know, it changes every day. So I just sort of ask the question, what is this person needing to learn today in a way that they can make relevant in their life, in a way that's not going to be time consuming, in a way that's not exotic, in a way that is accessible to them. And it comes through a softening. And I learned that by getting out of my own way. I've already had a family. I have a son who's already left home, and he left school when he was after grade 6, after primary school. He didn't want to go to secondary school. He said, "Dad, I only want to go to school to teach. I know what I want to do. I see what I want to do. I don't want to waste my time at school." And he didn't want to go down and drink beer or coffee or play video games. He wanted to make films about the ocean and about caring for the ocean. And that's all he wanted to do. He didn't want to go to learn mathematics and languages and things. So I said, yeah, okay. So he left home and he left school, and he's now 17. He's very busy. He also makes his own income and supports his mother. So I don't have to worry about him. My parents are both healthy, and they've already planned the rest of their lives, and they don't need my help either. So actually, I've been very fortunate in that way, because it's not always like that. Sometimes our children are high care and our parents are high care. We have a responsibility to serve and nurture our family. I don't have that. I've got a lot of space. So what to do with that space? I don't have a dog. I don't have a dog to look after. You know, imagine that. I wouldn't be able to go anywhere. So what do I do? You know, that's not selfish. I could go and get myself a dog, then I'd have something to do, you know, someone to look after. But I find I'm happy caring for everyone I meet. And also not being attached to that. I'm happy to move on, because not everyone needs to have that kind of care all the time. I don't know, it doesn't really answer your question, does it? How do I do it? How can anyone do it? It's just about softening into service, I think.
But
That's essentially.
it's like you don't worry, or you're not scared, or do you have to like courage yourself, or do you have to, you know, pet yourself to overcome some worries, or you just don't have any?
There are yoga exercises that build confidence and courage. There are also yoga postures that actually cool and calm and settle you down.
Really?
There,
And you say
yeah,
this now.
yeah, there are yoga postures that expand your mind and expand your vision. There are other yoga postures that ground you and make you feel in your body and very present. There are yoga postures that stimulate the intellect. So you do them like taking a meal. You know, like you have protein. You eat protein if you want to build your body, and you eat carbohydrates if you want energy and fuel. And it's the same thing. There are different yoga postures to build your, not just your body, but your whole being in different ways.
This is so
So if you're
fascinating.
feeling, yeah, it's not taught enough, unfortunately. This is what I mean by a 3-month yoga teacher training course will teach people to lead certain sequences, which makes you feel good, but it doesn't allow you to prepare the yoga like a good meal. to sit with yourself and say, what am I needing mostly? Oh, I'm feeling anxiety and fretfulness and fear. So I need to build courage. I need to build grounding. And you do that just in 20 minutes. And that's like, that's better. I'm back to equanimity. Or maybe you feel very sleepy and lazy and just like, oh, I've got no interest. So you do postures, breathing, and movement that builds your enthusiasm and your excitement. You might feel very uninspired and disconnected, and then you do postures that expand your consciousness. Or you may be feeling really floaty and freaked out and like you don't belong. So you do postures that make you belong back onto the earth. That's what I mean by doing a bespoke practice. So it's a wonderful art to have, and I think every human being should have this skills. It's one of the it's one of the things that makes having a body beneficial.
Okay, I have to ask, can you do that online also? I mean, let's say I would like to know these movements, but you are so far away. So is it possible for me to have a yoga training course with you one-on-one in online?
I used to think that would not be possible. So this is this idea of a limitation. I thought, how do you connect with someone if you're not in the same room as them? And yet I'm able to connect with you now. So yeah, this gift we have of this medium of the internet, and it allows us to fold time and space. Last night I had a healing session with one of my teachers. I lay down. It's a woman. She used to be a Catholic nun. She was in the nunnery from the age of 16 to 30. She's a remarkable person. But I put these earbuds in. I lay down on the floor in this room I'd never been to before. I just closed the door, and for that moment, I made this room my room. It's like, imagine making this little thing your house for a moment, you know, to be out of the sun. So I did. I said, okay. I felt like, oh, I'm in someone else's house and they might walk in soon, and I'm lying on the floor with no clothes on, listening to some story. And but yeah, that was all happening. But it was like, well, this is normal. That's okay. I'm at home here. And I closed my eyes and they took me on a journey, not just by telling a story. They did muscle testing. She asked, do I have permission to test for your body by connecting with your body? She was going to do muscle testing, a thing called kinesiology. Have you ever heard of kinesiology?
Yes, I have.
Muscle testing, right. So normally I've had muscle testing. They ask you a question, they move your arm and they find out, they ask your subconscious through your body questions. Well, she said, do I have permission to allow my body to test for your body? I said, yes, if it's not going to hurt you or not going to harm you or me. And she did. And she asked questions, testing for me. And I lay on the bed, and then she spoke different affirmations and prayers through my earbuds into my being. And I had one of the most profound experiences I've ever had in my life. That was just last night. She bended time and space, even though she was in another part of the world. She bent time and space, folded time and space, but she was right beside me, having a very relevant, real connection with my life journey, which proved to me that it can be done. We're so blessed. And that means I don't have to necessarily hop into an aeroplane and burn lots of, make the air dirty going somewhere. We can move our essence. We can move our essential essence to be very close to each other. this was the greatest gift of the COVID pandemic, I think, is over that 3 months, as 3 years, as human beings, we had to explore how we could function by moving our consciousness without having to move our body. It was like going to the moon without having to carry these leather bags full of food and stuff. And we could move with our consciousness and not have to drag the whole body. These are very exciting times living in. It's starting to get very sunny here, Britta, and I'm going to move away from the sun because
I just wanted to ask that, aren't you hot there with your jacket?
yes, you would think so. I have bare legs. I'm not wearing boots.
That was a
And,
surprise.
Yeah, yes, you'd expect me to have a ski suit on, wouldn't it? But it's getting hot. It's going to be a hot day. I
How
think it's
many
probably
degrees
going to
do you
be.
have?
It'll be about 33 degrees today.
Oh, that sounds
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. I don't think you'd want to be here and have a woolly jacket on. That's for sure. And now I've got the joy of being able to walk in the water too.
Well, that's just teasing, you know?
But like you said, I can imagine if you're there in the Estonia winter, this would be very exciting. But I can't wait to come there and to be in the mossy forest with the pine trees and the mushrooms. So you have to walk home at midnight through the snow.
I'm by
Oh,
car.
okay, the magic cars. Yeah. That was the other thing I stopped using. I used to have a car. I've had different cars in my life. I've had sports cars. I've had luxury cars. I've had vans. I lived in a van for a time. But these days, I found that having a car cut me off. It cut me off from other people because I became independent. It also cut me off from the environment. It was like this little magic box that took. These days, then I got a bike, an e-bike, and I started to travel everywhere on an e-bike, and it was amazing because the journey became half the fun. Not just going somewhere, but even the journey became fun. Even in the rain, in the pouring rain with thunderstorm, it was like so exciting to do that, and having to go up hills, and then the struggle of having to go up hills and then to go down hills. It was so much fun. But then I found that it was so much fun that cut me off from other people. I became a bikey guy who was just off on my own journey. So now I don't have my e-bikes either. I only walk around and catch rides with people because there's cars going everywhere. So I go with that. And it's not as much fun in that, I don't get to be by myself and go flying around the country, but it keeps me connected with people. So I learn more and more opportunities come. It's easy to put my little bag in a car. It's hard to put a whole bicycle in a car. Yeah. So as much as I like to have fun, we don't have much time, and there's a lot of information to share, and I welcome every opportunity to meet with people, to share and to learn. That's what's so important, because it's definitely the feeling that this is what's most required of us as human beings at this time.
In Australia, if you go, you walk around, so you see another person. So are you going to talk with each other? In Estonia, when we walk around and we see other person, we pretend that we don't see each other.
Yeah. So yeah, is that social convention? Is that Yeah. Do we do that because that's our feeling, or we're worried about being judged by the other person as being unwell or unsafe or somehow interfering? Uh, in in France, when you meet people, like these ladies just walked past now, and they wanted to acknowledge me, but I'm having a conversation with someone, so it's not like I'm going to wave at everyone I meet. But yeah, you pass people, you wish them a good day. In Australia, you pass. In France, when people are walking on the street, they reach each other bonjour, or at night time bonsoir. But if you get it wrong, if you say bonsoir too early, they look at you like you're mad. So and yeah, so there's a code, isn't it? So in Estonia, the code is not spoken. The code is a way you hold yourself when you pass someone, that you acknowledge them, but without interfering with them. It's more subtle than the French. The Italians and the Greeks are much more buongiorno, they're much more like affirming to each other, like, what a great day it is. And yes, it is a great day. And they confirm that. If you stay to yourself, like the Nordic people, they'll think, wow, what's wrong with that person? So it's about adjusting to the different cultures. In China, older people particularly, get up very early in the morning before dawn, and they all wear white, and they go into a park and they do exercises. And then when they see each other, they say, "Zao, zao, zao," which means early. It's early. It's early. So they acknowledge each other's virtue and getting up out of bed and getting into the day early. They say "Zao an," which means early peace. Early peace. So in China, I wouldn't go buongiorno, or I wouldn't be like in Estonia and just hold my center. It would be, so you have to adjust, depend on the culture you're in. It's just the same. You have to adjust with the different people you meet. Always. Some people don't want to be bothered. But if you get even a raised eyebrow or some attention, it's nice to exchange it appropriately. So to meet it appropriately, but with just a little bit of spark, a little bit more spark, just enough, not enough to be offensive or to be frightening, but just a little bit more. And a smile always feels good. It always feels good when someone smiles at you. And smiling is also very good for your own metabolism.
So thank you. And I really, really hope to see you soon.
Thank you, dear Britta. Yeah, love to you and your family, your beautiful growing family. Thank you for making the time to talk to me this evening.
Thank you.
In the cold. And share a little bit of Australia. Not all Australia is like this. This is a holiday place. Yeah, it's not like outside of Estonia, everywhere is sunny and happy and people running and playing. We also have cities, and we also have factories, and we have places that just lots of cars and craziness too. It's not all like this paradise. I just want you to understand that. The whole world, no one has got it right yet. And of course, Estonia, as I often tell people, have created Earth Day. They created Skype and TransferWise and all these very clever things that have really helped the world come together closer. That Estonia, that the Earth is their God, even though people are Catholic. It was the last country in the world to fall to the Northern Crusade, and they practiced the old ways for a long time. And even now in their Catholicism, they still practice a great care for each other and the earth. There's this phenomena called the Laulupitu every 4 years, which is where you have 25,000 people come together to sing in this beautiful Finno-Ugric language, full of vowels, long vowels, and a rolling R. And it's just like one of the most exquisite experiences I have in my memory. And I hope I get to come and maybe experience Laulubidu and Yoni Pav and nature days, including beautiful people like yourself and your brothers and sisters, because it's such a cherished, beautiful part of the world, Estima. I love it. And it'll be a great honor, and I'll be very happy to dedicate 3 months of my life this year to come and exchange and learn from the people of Estonia. And I'd love to see you again. That'd be great.
So lovely. So have a nice day. Have a nice
Thank you,
holiday.
dear Angel. Thank you very much for making time and filling my morning with your beauty and curiosity and sacredness. I feel very honored, dear Britta.
Bye.
All right. Wish you well. Ciao, darling. Ciao, ciao.
There's basically no snow at all today. You can walk on the ground. You don't have to walk on the ice anymore. Sort of. And the sun. Hello.